All right, we now bring in New York Republican Congressman Peter King to share his reaction to the Attorney General's letter and all we're learning this afternoon. Congressman, great to have you with us.
Thank you, Shannon.
I want to play something from Congressman Nadler, who chairs the House Judiciary Committee, which is where impeachment would start out. Here's what he's saying about whether or not we get all the information, all the underlying information from the special counsel, from Mueller, or not. Here's Congressman Nadler.
Once you say that a president cannot be indictable no matter what the evidence as a matter of law, to then follow the principle that you can't then comment on the evidence or publicize it is to convert that into a cover-up.
What do you make of that, Congressman? Because it seems like what we've heard today is an absolute clearing of any collusion by the Trump campaign or anyone associated with him. But then the special counsel saying, I'm not going to make a decision to exonerate or convict or try to indict the president on issues of obstruction. But the attorney general then going on to say, with legal consultation with the team within DOJ, we say no to obstruction either. Will Democrats, is that going to be good enough for them?
I don't think anything is going to be good enough for the Democrats. But on the issue of collusion, for instance, Mueller report said that there was no evidence at all. It wasn't that he's saying he's not going to indict the president because he's president. There was no evidence of collusion involving the president, his campaign, or any American. I don't know how much clearer that could be. And Jerry Nadler and others should realize that. As far as the issue of obstruction, it's hard to obstruct an investigation into a crime which was never committed. And if they're talking about firing Comey, if they're talking about his conversations with General Flynn, none of that at all constitutes obstruction. And that's why Attorney General and Rod Rosenstein, who was one of the heroes of the progressives when he appointed Bob Mueller to carry out this investigation, he concurred in that. We've heard for 2 years now, and for 6 months before that from Comey, but certainly for the last 2 years, once the Mueller report is in, we'll find out. We'll have the evidence of collusion. Bob Mueller was the absolute genius on this, the absolutely honest man. Now they don't trust Bob Mueller. Bob Mueller has totally exonerated President Trump on the underlying issue of whether or not there was collusion. Not on legal technicalities, but there's no evidence, nothing. And having been on the Intelligence Committee, I listened to Adam Schiff. I was on the committee. Almost every witness that was there I listened to carefully through all of the testimony. There was never any evidence of collusion. But then later on in the day, you'd see something leaked out to other media operations talking about all this evidence of collusion that was piling up that was there. Baloney. There was never, ever any evidence of collusion, whether it's talking about the Trump Tower meeting or anything. All of that was fully and adequately explained. And thank God that Bob Mueller has finally ended this national nightmare.
Well, as you said, so many Democrats stepped forward to say, in sometimes very vague, amorphous terms, that they had seen things that cleared up for them most definitively that there was some type of evidence that showed collusion. They were convinced of it. They said it publicly. But will they be held accountable for that at all? Or are they going to be able to point to something, maybe in these underlying documents or somewhere else that they say, that's a thread for me, that's enough, that's where I got this conclusion?
I don't know, maybe they should talk to the psychiatrist to where they're getting these delusions. I'm telling you, there was no evidence of any collusion, no matter how you interpreted it. And again, I sat there through all of it, through all of the endless questions that are being asked of all the witnesses, and there was no evidence. Do I expect them to apologize? No. They're going to say there's going to be a case in the Southern District, a case with the New York State Attorney General, a case God knows where. They just want to investigate this president, hound him out of the presidency. Well, listen, I think the American people, politically, that might be good for us Republicans, because I think the American people are tired of this going on. Bob Mueller, if Mueller would come down with a damning report, that would have been very difficult for the president. But the fact that he totally exonerated him on this charge that's been out there for 2.5 years, even before Election Day was being made, the fact that that's proven to be nonsense and garbage and totally baseless, this is a total victory for the President of the United States. And I tell you, I don't always agree with President Trump. I agree with him a lot more than I disagree. But on this, he has been rock solid from the start. From the first time I ever even mentioned this to him, he has been solid. There's no collusion. He stood by it, and he stood up through all this. I don't know how anybody can put up with all this, being investigated, having your family investigated, your friends investigated, endless. I mean, again, I give him credit for this, tremendous credit.
Yeah, and while the special counsel may be wrapped, as you said, there are many other investigations on the Hill, federal prosecutors and others that he'll have to deal with moving forward. But today, a vindication on this issue of collusion. Congressman King, great to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. It's a great day.